I know it's really late. Well, it's not really late, it's a week late. The election has just gone past last Thursday, but the results came in last Friday. I was thinking, I'm kind of glad I waited this extra week, because there's some stuff that I never found out. As you know, as people of England and UK and Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland know, David Cameron is now back in power. Now the election's over, I'm not going to hide my feelings, and yes, I did vote Conservative. Conservative both times, in the local election and general election. And I'm quite happy they won. David Cameron's in power due to a majority. It's a very small majority vote, but they got enough votes to be a majority. I think they got 3 or 4 votes over the majority line, which is good. I mean, David Cameron's doing well so far. The other big shock and there's more quite big shocks, but the other big shock was that Labour did not do as well. Usually, Labour and Conservatives are really close together. So much of the leaders trying to say, oh, you've got to join UKIP, or you've got to vote UKIP, or you've got to vote Labour or this, or Conservatives or Dems or the SNP. I didn't really watch too many of that. But yeah, they had about, after all the votes were counted, they had about 100 odd seats below Conservatives, and in the last couple of terms they've been pretty close. Lib Dems, I think they only got 8 seats in the end, and they had about 50, but they had to join the Conservatives last year to make a coalition to make it, to rise it up to the majority. But yeah, it's quite a shocking election. Another big shock was that the SNP, I'm not sure how long the Scottish National Party was around, or has been around for, but just now, randomly, the SNP, after the Scottish referendum for Scotland, not the UK, not people of the UK, not England, Northern Ireland or Wales, but Scotland had to vote whether they would like to be part of the UK or not part of the UK, and the majority said no. So Scotland stayed part of the UK, but the most interesting thing is, over the 56 seats in Scotland, 6 seats in Scotland. If anyone in Scotland is saying it's wrong, please tell me. So yeah, 56 seats in Scotland. The SNP got 53. They got mostly all of Scotland voting, agreeing with them. In Scotland, the other 3 seats were one to Labour, 1 to Conservatives, and 1 to Lib Dem. But considering they've only got 1 seat each, and the SNP have 53 other seats, I don't think Labour, Lib Dems, or Conservatives have any power in Scotland, considering the SNP have the majority of Scotland voting for them. Earlier in the week, the SNP, Nicola Sturgeon, the leader of the SNP, did meet up with David Cameron, and I'm not too sure how the talks went. It seems like the talks are going quite well. So it seems like if the referendum didn't go too well, because Scotland stayed in the UK, but at the same time, it's probably better for them, because now they have a big voice in Parliament. There are about 53 people, 53 seats of 56 of Scotland in Parliament to talk and, shout their ideas out, and the SNP basically have control of Scotland-ish. Now, the other things. This is why I'm glad I waited a week. Due to Labour, Lib Dems and UKIP's failings, Ed Miliband has resigned as the Labour leader. Nick Clegg has also resigned as the Lib Dem leader, and Nigel Farage resigned as the UKIP leader. The funny thing about this is, Ed Miliband and Nick Clegg didn't have to ask. They just went, "Oh, right now, I'm saying it now. We have now resigned. We resigned from our parties. End of. Not even in the news again. I haven't really heard about anything else about them." Nigel Farage, it's along these lines. It's not a direct quote, but it's similar. When he lost his seat in Thanet, or to explain that. He said if he lost that seat, which he did, he would quit as the UKIP leader. And 3 days, he said he wrote a letter to the executive of UKIP saying he handed in resignation, and 3 days later, he's back in charge of UKIP. I'm not really understanding that. So yeah, now Nigel Farage is back in power of UKIP, and he's a member of Parliament of Europe or something. I'm not really. And yeah, to think that he decided to quit, and then he's back in power. The BBC, as soon as I figured this out, I was like, you can't really be serious. And the BBC interviewed Nigel Farage, and they went along the lines of saying that he planned this whole thing, where he would say, "Oh, I'm going to resign, have a nice holiday, have the summer off, and then put my name forward for the re-election in September for the party leader." And then 3 days later, he's back in power because UKIP, out of nowhere, said they would like him to stay. I do get it. I understand what BBC is saying, and I do partially agree with them that that does seem planned out, because he said he was going to leave, then he didn't, and now he's the leader of UKIP still. I'm not sure what's happening when the leaders of not UKIP, the new leaders of Lib Dems and not Conservative Labour are going to be announced or something. So yeah, if you've watched the general election or you've had anything to say about this, and if I'm not the only one making these, sitting in my bedroom like a twat, an idiot, putting these videos online for hopefully people to see. But yeah, like I said, leave a link below, or not a link, a comment below, of your opinion on the general election for England and the UK. And if as an additional question, what do you expect, or what do you think the SNP will do now they have the majority of Scotland voting for him? Because I for one am pretty intrigued of what Scotland will now do or be, because the SNP, who are the Scottish National Party, I probably mentioned that at the beginning, I think I did, have now got full power, pretty much, of Scotland. So this will be an interesting term